And I have the fifth technique here that I wanted to show you. It's a very, very easy technique. It's called Kohakutou. It's a Japanese candy made using agar agar. It's basically like a jelly. When I've seen a few cakes that are decorated using this particular technique, and it is like it fascinated me. I've been looking around it for some few months now, and I thought it is, I think, there like more than a year now. And I thought, okay, you could get to know about it if you're going to browse through a lot of different techniques. Or I thought I should introduce this to you, but then it is there. It's not something that I've created or something. So we are just going to make this jelly, and there are a few ways that you could use this, which I will be briefing maybe at the end. So before we get to um, making it, I just wanted to say hello to you guys. Okay, now I think there was one stream before this and my voice was not audible, so we got it checked. And so if you guys watching it live could confirm if my voice is audible, and then I could just start. Hello. Okay, so one of you just confirm if my voice is good, and we just go ahead. Okay. Also, thanks to all of you who've been participating in the previous month. So last month we did was edible sculpture painting using white ganache. So we colored the ganache and then made some beautiful flowers. Okay, so there's a confirmation. Okay, thank you so much. We also announced the winners on the sculpture painting month last month, and we've been sending out the fridge magnet, the token of appreciation from our end. And if you guys receive it, do share it in your social media, maybe put some stories or posts and then tag us so we get to know that you keep receiving our gift to you. Okay, so this month also we'll be doing like it's like a competition, like a friendly competition or a collaboration that we could call it. And I'll be choosing the winners, top 1, 2, 3, the gold, silver, bronze. And obviously you're getting a discount coupon from the Font Bites school in the online school, right? And you also will be getting a certificates, badges, and whoever are participating will also be getting a certificate, not just for the winners. Obviously, winners get the physical fridge magnet shipped to your physical address, and you could just put it on your fridge. Okay, so that's how this thing works. If you are new here, for you to know how we are working and why this series of cake decorating is there. So I'm doing a monthly cake decorating series, first week in the month, so I could get busy in the next week. So I thought I'll be here the last day of this week, so we can just start this month and you can start working on this technique. So Kohakutou, okay, the Japanese candy. There are only three ingredients. We have water, sugar, and agar agar. So it's going to be a sweet jelly, and we are going to color it and allow it to set. Okay, and obviously it is going to take a day, or maybe in few hours. Obviously you'll have the jelly thing, but we are not going to look for a jelly thing, because we are not going to scoop and eat it. We are going to wait and make it so that it looks really good on cake decorating. We're just going to put that whole idea and not eat it like a candy, but put it on the cake decorating element and then like eat it together with the cake, right? So what I have here is the jelly that has been set before 2 days, and then another version that was set before a week, that is already there. So when you make, well, when you're going to be ready to make the Kohakutou, the crystal jelly thing on your cake, you have to start making it like 2 days before. So it is there set well, so it looks good on your cake decorating thing, because the next day the very jelly stuff is also good. But I like the crystallized version. It crystallizes, okay? So then you have the cracks and the dryness on the skin and all that only after 2 days, and then the hardness and the crystallization increases with time. So a week old is like really, really nice, very sturdy. We'll be seeing how the results are. So then to begin with, I have the ingredients. So that is a 1.5 teaspoon of agar agar, which is a veg gelatin. Okay, and then there's half a cup of water, and then there is 1 cup of sugar, plain cooking sugar. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour there's a saucepan. Okay, pour the water into the saucepan, and switch on the stove. Okay. I'm just going to reduce the flame. You don't have to let the water to heat up too much, but I'm just going to have that process going while I want to prepare into which I'm going to pour. Because if you see on this particular cake, the jelly, the crystal that I have placed it is in vertical strips, right? So I am going to allow the crystal, the jelly thing, the pour, the agar-agar pour to be poured in a acrylic square disc. Acrylic, why? Because I want you guys to see through what I am pouring. If you are going to do, then a regular cake pan is also okay, or a square ring is also okay, right? So because it is a ring, I want the bottom to be sealed. So if I'm going to pour the jelly thing liquid in, you don't want it to leak. So I'm going to cling wrap the bottom. Okay. You can also do on aluminum foil, that also works well. Okay, and then I have a board. I mean, it can be a regular cake board as well, right? So I'm just placing this on the cake board, and then I'm just going to leave this aside. Now the water has started to boil, right? Now onto this, I'm just going to add the agar agar. Okay, I'm just giving it a mix, and then I'm adding the sugar also together. And then we just need to allow a little time for the sugar to melt and combine, and this whole thing will just become a liquid solution. Okay, I'm just increasing the temperature. Just going to allow it to boil for some time. I mean, you don't have to let it boil, and there's no consistency and all that. The only thing that I have to look for is dissolving. Sugar just needs to dissolve. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the sugar syrup with the agar agar to boil. And you don't want to allow the whole thing to boil before the sugar dissolves. So control the heat, bring it to low, and make sure it begins to boil only after the sugar completely dissolves. So I can see like really tiny granules of sugar. So I'm just going to wait until it dissolves. You can do this in your regular saucepan, like your, the regular flat bottom saucepan is quite fine. Okay, so now you can see it is beginning to boil. Okay, so the moment you see it boil, you don't have to really wait, but then we'll just have to stop and then allow the white foam and the bubbles to disappear, because you don't want to pour when you have the bubbles, the white foamy thing still there. Okay, so once it bubbles, stop cooking and wait for some time until you have the layer of the white foam disappear. Okay, so now this is good to pour. I'm just getting the stove away, and now I'm just going to pour this, directly pour this into the ring that was prepared. So the bottom is lined on, when I pour, it is not going to leak out. So that much I have to ensure. Okay, and pour it in. I'm just going to retain a little bit in this. I just wanted to show on the gem mold of how we are going to pour. I'm just going to color this. Now, whatever is poured here, I can use the spatula and remove of the air bubbles. I don't create more. Okay, and then you can just pop the air bubbles out with a toothpick. Okay, now we can color the entire thing using if you're going to color the entire thing into one color, you can add the color into this pan itself. And then if you're trying to do marble and all that, obviously you can transfer this into two different bowls and then work on your colors. But quick way is to add the color even after pouring. Okay, I'm just doing a little bit of yellow. Okay, few drops of yellow. And then some brown. Okay, it's like the sunset thing. Let me now use the toothpick to just swirl around. I'm just allowing the color. Also, if the bottom is cling wrap, when you're using the toothpick, make sure you're just not going till the bottom and then dragging and then tearing up the cling wrap. Okay, it's like the really nice honey color. What I have done on the cake is the night sky color. What I added is like some pink, purple, um, blue, and black, and then had a few sprinkle of white gel. I'm just going to do that white gel to show you how I did on the night sky thing. Now this is color mixed. Okay, now into this, what I did for the night color effect, okay, I did sprinkle a little bit of white. So this is a airbrush color. I just wanted it to be in. Okay, so I'm just taking, wanted it to be liquid, so I'm using the airbrush color. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle off some white. You can also touch in your brush and then just tap it in. just a little bit, only if you need. This is not a necessity for the technique, it is just an additional add-on color. Okay, now this would begin to set, and I'm just going to set this aside. Okay, I'll bring it back to show you how it is. The one in the saucepan, I'll just get the stove. The one in the saucepan is already setting. I said I'm going to mix some colors on this and pour on the jelly mold. I'm just going to heat that up again and bring it back to the liquid mode, because by the time you're working you have plans to make like few different versions, and by the time you are ready, if it sets, you can heat it back. It is beginning to set, you can see. Reduce the heat. Okay, to this I'm going to add just yellow. Let's make some topaz gem. Okay, so it is in the pouring consistency now. So if you know whatever is there in your saucepan is just solidifying, you can bring it back, heat it on low flame, and make sure it is in the pouring consistency. So you can pour it and use it. Also, because the quantity that is there is like really less, right? So what I was talking about, the gem molds, is this one. Okay. Now before this one sets, also because there's good amount of AC falling right onto this saucepan. So this you can do in different colors, whatever you think is going to be suitable for the cake that you have planned to make. These are just ideas what you can do with this technique. But then obviously there is no eggless thing here, because this itself is agar agar. We are not going to try this thing at all with gelatin, the regular one. Okay, so this is just an idea. Obviously now I'll not be able to take it out. We need to give it some time. You could maybe tap by the time it is set. Okay, so this I'm going to set it aside now. um, I'm going to get the ones that was previously made, so now we are just going to unmold it. Okay, so these are the ones which are made. Now what is going to happen to the one that is made right here, which is this one? The new one is the honey color, which is yellow and brown was added. So in this there's pink, purple, black, blue, and the sprinkle of white for the night sky. Okay, so this was made the day before yesterday. Okay, this was made the day before yesterday. I'm going to unmold first. Now this you can see is already unmolded, and obviously I have a bit cut. So this is the next stage. So what is going to happen after pouring? Allow it to set for 48 hours is a good thing to do. 24 you can try, you'll be able to cut definitely. You can try after 24. but then the outside crystals may not have formed. Okay, but then you can cut and then you can keep it with a glossy finish. That is fine. Now I had used foil here. For the previous one I had used cling wrap. Okay, so both are going to work fine. Okay, and just need a knife, a small knife. What I'm going to do is to go in and detach the jelly from the pan. So I'm just going to remove the ring out. Okay, the pan size is a little bigger for this quantity. So what I had used here is a 6" by 6". The acrylic is a 6" by 6". You can see on the sides the thickness is quite good. This could be 8 by 8. I think this stainless steel one, the ring that I just removed, is an 8 by 8. Okay, now the outside is what will be crusted. Okay, now if you can see, so that is how it is going to look. See, the outside is going to be crusted dry, and if I'm going to move, it is also going to crack like this, and then you can see the crystals I'm touching here and then it is breaking. Okay, so the outside crystallization happens here, right? Now I can now start cutting it out in the shape that I'm going to use it on the cake. Now here, now these cracks, if you don't want, then you will be cutting it after 24 hours itself. Okay, so then after cutting, the inside is going to be jelly because that is not exposed to the air yet. Okay, now you want all the sides to get dried up. You have to cut it out in the shape that you want or get it to the approximate shape that you want, and then allow the individual pieces to start drying. Okay, now after cutting, we'll just move the pieces to another plate. Okay, so cut them out into the approximate sizes because we want to allow the inside to start crystallizing as well. And after cutting, once you leave it out for a day or more, then even the sides are going to start crystallizing. Okay, so the sides are also going to get dry. Okay, like this, or we can show it on the top. Okay, so you can see the sides are also dry, but then the surface that is not exposed, like the bottom which is not exposed, is still going to be glossy. Okay, so this is the side which is not exposed to the air at all, and then you can see it is glossy, and this is the top part which was exposed for a longer period of time, and this is the side that also you can see is dried up. So the surface that is glossy is not exposed. So if you want a glossy finish, then do not allow it to set for long. And then if you want it like this, like the crystal which I like, then you will allow it to dry for more time. Okay, so now once after you are cutting them out, let me start cutting this. Okay, so now the inside here, this I'm just cutting out a fresh longer strip where the inside is still gooey. Okay, so this has been there like for a week. Okay, now the outside you can see, and the surface that was exposed is crusted, and then the sides are still gooey. Okay, now if I want this entire strip to be dried and crusted, I will start cutting out the strips and then rest them by placing them aside carefully, so all the sides starts becoming dry. So that is when I feel like it is good enough to use for the cake decorating logic. Okay, but then the jelly thing is good to eat even if it is shiny or not shiny, with this crystallized or not, it is anyway good. Now I'm just going to take these strips and place it on the white plate here, so you can see how the color is in a bit more clarity. Okay, now into this, what I like doing is to just keep changing the, okay, like work on the top, just move around and make the surface, press it out and then create cracks. So just move around, and then so you can just work on and creating cracks, because I like textures working together on the cake. They give a better look rather than just being. That is why you are allowing it to crystallize. So crystallizing will just have one film on the top, and we could just crack it, break it, just move. For smaller ones, you can just cut it further, but then just work on the outside, press it, and give it a texture on the outside. But then texture you can still give after it is completely dried out as well. So you can start working on the texture thing after you take, but then if you find it difficult, you can allow it to set for some time, and then also work on the textures. Okay, now this is like one way of cutting out, right? Now I'm just going to, you can pour them like I showed here. You can initially itself pour in the form or the shape that you want, like when you have a mold like this, or if you're going to use it on the square rings or something. And then if you're looking at getting, maybe like you want to work on polka dots on your cake, then use cutters. Okay, so I have like three different sizes, like really small ones. So they would go on the sides of the cake or on the top of the cake. And then for the smallest size, I'm just using a nozzle. You can use all your circle cutters or any shape that you want, that you can just cut. Now to remove, I'm just going to gently get the excess out. Now these are all dried for some time, so it is just allowing me to play around quite well. Okay, so the circle, the crystallized version on one side, and then the shiny version on the other side. Okay, So you cut out as many you need that you can put it on the cake. Now, after even cutting out to the size and the shapes you want, you can still play around with the shape and create your own gem or crystal by just working with the knife. So I'm just going to put it back into this plate. Okay, so now to further find your own shapes, in case you still looking at even more changing the shape and then to make it look like even in the crystal shape, and you don't have a crystal mold or something like that, then which is better, here is better, I can just go ahead and then cut out. Okay, making the top like into a hut and then further cutting. You can chop them into different sizes. To make it look like some crude jewel or crystal that you get out of the earth, right? So these are not like the completely polished ones. The unpolished gems shape you can give by cutting out. Now these are like like I said is 7 days, but then the strips are cut like few hours before. So now when the strips are cut few hours before, the bottom and all is still soft. Okay, so now I have some of the strips here that were cut and kept exposed. Okay, which are these ones, cut and kept exposed. Okay, so this is what I cut now. Now these are things that I have cut earlier. Now you can take it out after 48 hours and they are going to be a little flexible, and allow it to dry for some time, after which you can see. Okay, so these are the crystals, the same thing, that it is quite hard. Okay, now this also you can see is quite hard. Now these are all the smaller ones which is crusted on all sides. Okay, this one is quite hard. Now you see this one has the shiny side because this is the one that I am cutting now. Okay, this is dried and it is quite nice. Now you can see it, just you can feel like the sound itself is like I throw down, it is like quite hard. So these are the stages that first of all you need to understand. You can just clear this out. Now let me put this in the clear this out, and then I'm just going to explain few other ways in which we can just use it. So let me put back in the plate. So this I know is like pretty flexible. I have to allow it to rest for some time. Okay, also I just wanted to just break one and show you. Now my hand is all sugar. Okay, the crystallized stuff has happened. I just wanted to show this one. So I just took from this the fully dried one. Okay, now I just wanted to break and show how hard it is. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is like quite solid, and I'm just pressing it. I just want to show how it is. It is jelly inside with crystals. The crystallized surface was on the outside. Okay, and it's still jelly and it is going to be sugar, so it is going to be like really nice. I just want to break one more and show. Okay, so this is the one, and I'm pressing it. The outside is quite hard and dry. Okay, it's not sticking, but then the moment I break, I can see there is jelly coming out. Okay, I'm just going to empty my other hand and then put this here and show. So the inside jelly and the outside will be crystal, and that is why I like to call this a crystal jelly. See, the outside crystal, like how are we going to make the outside crystal? I just want to brief the steps one more time, and then if you have any doubts, then I'm just going to answer them. Okay, so we just made the jelly, and it is a candy. It is like more like a pudding, and it sets well, and then it is just going to be jiggly wiggly, and then you could scoop and eat, or we can just pour it on molds, and then we can just start eating like that. Okay, but then to use it on the cake, we have to follow a set of process. So we're just going to cook the agar agar with sugar and water, and the moment it just dissolves completely and starts to bubble, stop, and then allow the bubbles and the foam to go off, and then keep your pan or a ring like this. It doesn't have to be acrylic, it can be your regular cake ring or even a cake pan or brownie pan or whatever, and then pour that jelly thing inside, or you could color it on the pan and then pour, or pour it into the ring and then add the colors like how I did. And because I did the night sky effect, I sprinkle some white. You don't have to do, I just showed how to do, but then this is going to just stay in that color whatever we have poured it there. Okay, now allow this thing to settle down and rest like that, with the top surface exposed to the air as much possible, so the top crusts properly. After which, put the knife on the sides, remove the cling wrap from the bottom, and take out the square disc which is in this state. Okay, the top would have crusted. That is after a couple of days or even a day. Then cut it to the nearest shape that you want it to work. Like if you want strips, then cut them into strips. If you want circles, then cut them into circles. Okay, and again allow the strips to dry furthermore on both the sides. Now if you're able to move them, you could move them and give them, space them apart, so in between each of the strips there are quite good amount of gaps. And after that, again give it 1 or 2 more days, and so all the sides would have crusted. Now when all the sides would have, obviously the bottom is still going to be sticky. Okay, so from there, then you could start sticking it on the cake using any medium, whatever medium that you have used. If you've used fondant, then maybe you can maybe use royal icing if you have, or even like egg white simply work. Or if you're using ganache, then it can be ganache itself that you can allow it to stick. So let me just, what do we have, anything to show them how to stick? Water in a bowl also is fine. Okay, so this is a fondant covered cake. Obviously, there's dummy inside. And then I also put some, because I didn't like it very plain. So I just put some royal icing on the top, giving it texture. And then I started sticking. When the royal icing was quite not very dry, then they stuck by itself. And then later, brush or that teaspoon or whatever, whichever is there, whichever is there. I get a brush itself. Okay, so let me get a brush so I can also show you how to stick. Because I like this design, like I've just finished the first half only. So let me show you how this is going to stick. Any medium is going to stick. You can use your cream, your whipping cream, cake, anything. This is going to stay on any cake. Even these circles, the back is still sticky. The circle is going to stay. Let me just stick it here and see. Because jelly is sticky, so it's going to stay. Obviously this composition is not going to look great because I'm not even getting to see how it looks, but then what I'm showing you is all how it can stick. Okay, so this is the one that was freshly cut, so the bottom is jelly. But if it is a fondant cake, if this surface is dry, obviously it is not going to stick really well. I'm just using water, a little bit of moisture. Okay, that also will help stick. Now if the surface is quite dry like this, more than water, a medium like a buttercream or a royal icing is what is going to help it stick. But I'm just going to add water, and let me stick it here. Okay, so you can use any medium like I said, and then stick them anywhere on the cake. And obviously here, because I just needed to get the height. Okay, so the tallest strip stopped here, and all of these are extras that I cut, so I could just get the step logic going on for this cake. Okay, so now you finish making the crystal, and then you also saw how to stick them on the cake, because I just want to skip that part, because you know how to make a crystal, but then you don't know how to put it on a cake is something that we also have to know. Okay, so let's get to the questions if there are any. No doubts. Okay. Ratio of water sugar agar agar is 1.5 teaspoon of agar agar to half a cup of water to 1 cup of sugar. Can we do this on whipped cream frosting? Yes. Once you allowing to dry, or even if it is in the jelly form, and only the top surface is dried out, you can go ahead and then stick on the whipping cream as well. Okay. So we don't have so much of doubts. I think it's a simple technique. Obviously, there isn't going to be. You don't have to keep it in the fridge. I think there was one doubt which says, should we keep it in the fridge? No, it is going to begin to set like this itself, is like it's not moving anymore, but obviously there's a surface film that's formed. You can't cut now. You just need to give it at least 8 hours to cut. Allow it in the room temperature itself, because only then it will be dry, and only then you'll be able to cut them out. Won't it get loose after some time? No, these are all made like quite before, right? They have not turned loose at all. It is just staying, because we are cutting and then leaving it in the room temperature itself. So it is quite hard. I even broke a piece and then showed. The inside is jellish, but the outside is crystal. You're looking for some more doubts. Does the mold need to be greased? No, because they are silicone molds. But if they are not silicone molds, obviously you can just spray it with an oil spray or butter it, and then pour. So it could come out easily. I haven't tried with a non-silicone mold. This is a silicone mold, so obviously if I'm just going to press it out, it is going to come. Okay, juice instead of water. Maybe you can try, or you can just use extracts. But if you use juice, then we are just going to keep it like for really long, right? Like it's like 3-4 days of work. So obviously juice may not be edible keeping it room temperature. So if it is like for any other purpose for the jelly thing, then juice okay, but not for this because we have to keep it out and work. Should we add any essence? If you want it to be in any kind of flavor, then obviously extracts work here, because then when people eat, then they'll feel like, okay, this is that candy. Maybe it could be strawberry or any candy, cotton candy flavor, whatever you could add, and then give the color as well. Shelf life, 7 days it is outside, and I think it is quite good. A week should be good. 1.5 a teaspoon of agar agar. How much water, how much sugar? I've been telling it from the beginning. The first time, there's twice, and third time I'm saying 1.5 a teaspoon of agar agar to half a cup of water, and 1 cup of sugar is the measurement. Okay. How long you store in fridge, ma'am? I'm not going to store it in fridge because I want the outside to be crusted, because I'm going to use it for this particular technique where I want the outer surface to be crystallized. But you could store it in the fridge for keeping the outer surface like soft and shiny, and then continue to use as well. Storing it after cutting, keep them in airtight containers and in room temperature for the crystal jelly. For the jelly, obviously storage will be in the fridge. Is it necessary to use airbrush color for the effect? Not really. You can also use powder colors. If you have petal dusks in white to just give the white effect on top. I mean, white effect is majorly needed for this night sky effect. Otherwise, if you want to make it like in any color, that white drizzle thing is not at all needed. Like this one, I'd liked it pretty much better with the yellow and the brown itself without the white thing. A lot of patience. Thank you so much. Anything else? All doubts cleared. So I just want to brief up why we are doing this. Okay, so this is part of Cakes Unplugged with Subhashini Ramsingh. It's a cake decorating monthly series that I've been doing. I think this is the 5th month, and every month I come on the first week and show in live a new cake decorating technique that you can it will be nice that I encourage you to participate. So it will be nice if you guys practice this and do on a cake, and then come up with your own cake and then post them on Instagram directly. But if you have to be part of the collaboration, then obviously you have to be part of Facebook, and find the group Cakes Unplugged with Subhashini Ramsingh. Join that, and if you're already there, and maybe then check out if you're there, and make a cake and post it in the group. Okay, so on 25th of every month I will be choosing the winners, and all of you who have made the cakes will receive a digital badge with the cake that you have made, that you can share in your social media. And there'll be 3 winners. The first one, the gold, then the silver, then the bronze. Okay, so the first winner, the gold, will get a 30% discount on the Fonbytes online school. The silver gets a 20% discount coupon, and the bronze gets a 10% discount coupon. You also get a digital certificate and a special badge which holds the gold, silver, and bronze. And we also send you a physical fridge magnet shipped to your house. So there's a lot of work that we will be doing after you've done your cake. Okay, and that is something that the entire team really loves, choosing the winners and then working on the fridge magnet and then finally shipping it to you. This we do every month, and that really keeps us going. So you learn just by watching, no, but then you also have to practice them. So I know that these videos and these lives are really useful for you guys. So it will pep me up so I can come up with like really trendy and newer techniques in the upcoming months. So meet you again in the same series next month, in March, on the first week, any day that I'll be announcing like a couple of days before, and catch you in another new technique. In the meantime, if you watch the entire video, now make this technique and then share your results with me. And yeah, the video here will be available on the YouTube. So the Funbytes has a YouTube channel, and all the older videos that we've done as part of the series has been uploaded there. And then you can start watching the videos, and this particular video will be uploaded on the YouTube, and you can start watching from there. Obviously in Facebook it stays, but then we plan to just keep all the lessons, all the videos, the free tutorials in the YouTube. So you can start watching it from there. If you've missed it, you can go to the YouTube to watch it. Okay, so until next time, meet you in March. Otherwise, keep doing the Kohakutou and share your creations with me and stand a chance to win the gold, silver, or bronze, or at least participate in the collab and get your badges. Okay, so see you until next time. Bye.